Have you ever shared something with family only to wish you hadn't? You know that feeling. You mention something casually over Sunday dinner, and before you know it, the whole family's weighing in with opinions you didn't ask for. Or maybe you've confided in a loved one, only to notice them treating you differently afterward. If this sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. As we move through our 60s, 70s, and beyond, we accumulate a lifetime's worth of wisdom about what truly needs to be shared and what's often better kept private. This isn't about being secretive or shutting people out. Quite the opposite. It's about protecting the relationships we cherish while maintaining our hard-earned independence. Think about your favorite sweater, the one that's lasted decades because you've cared for it properly. Our relationships are much the same. They need thoughtful tending, knowing when to share openly and when to hold certain things close to our hearts. The art of discretion becomes one of our most valuable tools as we age. Today, we'll explore 6 areas where a little privacy can go a long way in preserving our peace of mind and family harmony. These aren't hard and fast rules, but gentle guidelines gathered from experience. You might find some resonate more than others, and that's perfectly fine. We each walk our own path. Before we begin, I'd love you to think about this. When was the last time you shared something and later wished you hadn't? How did it make you feel? Keep that in mind as we go through these together. And please share your experiences in the comments afterward. Your wisdom might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear. Now, let's start with one of the most common and most sensitive topics: your money and assets.
Money has a way of changing relationships, doesn't it? Even when everyone has the best intentions, financial transparency can sometimes do more harm than good after 60. Let me tell you about Margaret, a retired school teacher who learned this lesson the hard way. Margaret had always believed in complete openness with her 3 children. When she retired at 65, she proudly shared details of her pension, savings, and plans to travel. "We're a close family," she thought. "They'll be happy for me." And at first, they were. But within months, the comments started. "Mom, shouldn't you be more careful with your savings? That cruise seems awfully expensive at your age. Wouldn't it be smarter to give us some of that money now rather than wait?" What began as proud sharing gradually became a source of tension. Margaret found herself second-guessing every financial decision, knowing her children would have opinions. The worst part? She noticed certain grandchildren suddenly visiting more often, always around the holidays when gifts were expected. This scenario plays out in families more often than we realize. Financial advisor Michael Johnson, who specializes in retirement planning, sees it frequently. Once money details are shared, you can't unshare them. Even the most well-meaning family members start viewing your finances through their own lens of needs and worries. There's also the uncomfortable reality that money changes how people see us. A 2022 study found that 68% of seniors who shared full financial details with family reported increased stress about money matters compared to just 22% who maintained some privacy. This doesn't mean you should keep everything secret. Important documents like wills and powers of attorney need to be in order and accessible. But consider this distinction. Share the what, such as the house will be divided equally between you 3. Not necessarily the how much, as in the house is worth $850,000 and your inheritance will be so much. Robert, a retired engineer from Ohio, found a good middle ground. He created a clear estate plan with his lawyer, then told his children, "Everything's taken care of fairly. You'll each get what you need when the time comes." This maintained harmony while keeping specific numbers private. Here are 3 signs you might be oversharing financially. Family members reference your savings when making their own financial decisions. You feel pressured to justify everyday spending. Gifts start coming with strings attached. Remember, your financial decisions are yours alone. Here's the truth. Your finances are yours to manage. It's wise to have estate plans in place, but you don't owe anyone a play-by-play of your savings or spending. Your money represents your life's work. You have every right to enjoy it without committee approval. Protecting your financial privacy isn't about distrust. It's about preserving your dignity and peace. Have you ever faced this dilemma? What's been your experience with financial privacy in the family? Your insights could really help others in our community.
2. Health concerns that aren't urgent. We've all been there. You wake up with a new ache or pain, and your first instinct might be to mention it to your loved ones. After all, they care about you, and it feels natural to share. But here's something important to consider. Not every twinge needs to be a topic of family discussion. Take the story of Evelyn, a vibrant 72-year-old who loved her weekly bowling league. When she casually mentioned her sore shoulder to her daughter during a phone call, she didn't expect what came next. Suddenly, her daughter was calling daily to check if she'd seen a doctor. Her son-in-law started researching expensive treatments. Before she knew it, her entire family was treating her like she was one step away from assisted living, all because of normal, age-related discomfort. Their love was real, but so was her frustration. She didn't feel as frail as they'd assumed. This happens more often than you think. Dr. Lisa Morrison, a geriatric specialist, explains. When seniors consistently share minor health complaints, families often overestimate their decline. This can lead to premature discussions about giving up independence that aren't necessary yet. There's also the emotional toll to consider. Every time you mention an ache or pain, your loved ones may experience unnecessary worry. They might start limiting activities they think you can't handle. You could find yourself fielding constant "how are you feeling?" questions that keep the focus on limitations rather than possibilities. Now, this doesn't mean you should ignore serious symptoms or suffer in silence. Of course not. Major health changes absolutely should be shared. But there's wisdom in distinguishing between what requires family involvement and what's better discussed with your doctor during regular checkups. Here's a helpful way to think about it. If the issue isn't serious enough to change your daily routine or require treatment, it might not need to be shared with family. That occasional stiff knee when it rains, the minor heartburn after eating spicy foods. These are normal parts of aging that millions experience. Sarah, a retired nurse from Florida, found a good middle ground. I save up my minor health questions for my monthly doctor visits. If the doctor isn't concerned, I don't bring it up with my family. This keeps them from worrying unnecessarily while still making sure I stay on top of my health. Remember, you know your body best. By being selective about what health concerns you share, you maintain both your peace of mind and your family's realistic perception of your capabilities. As the saying goes, not every thought needs a voice. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do for ourselves and our loved ones is to let minor discomforts come and go without making them the center of attention.
3. Your true thoughts on family arguments. Family conflicts are like ocean waves. They rise, they crash, and often they resolve naturally if we don't interfere. Yet, when we see our loved ones arguing, our instinct is often to jump in and mediate. Here's why pausing might be the wiser choice. Consider the experience of Harold and his two sons. When the brothers began arguing about their mother's care arrangements, Harold immediately stepped in with his opinion. What happened next? Both sons turned their frustration toward him, each feeling he'd taken the other's side. The argument that might have blown over in a day instead created weeks of tension. This pattern is so common that family therapists have a name for it: triangulation. It's what happens when someone tries to resolve a conflict between two others only to become part of the conflict themselves. The truth is, most family disputes don't need referees. They need time and space. Here are 3 situations where silence often serves best. Generational disagreements. Your granddaughter's parenting choices may differ from how you raised your children, but unsolicited advice rarely helps. Old sibling rivalries. Those childhood dynamics between your adult children, They'll work them out or not on their own timeline. Marital spats. Unless there's real danger involved, your son and daughter-in-law's marriage is their business. That said, there are times when speaking up is important. If you see someone being truly mistreated, or if a conflict directly involves your care or well-being, your voice matters. The key is distinguishing between situations that need your wisdom and those that simply need your quiet presence. Martha, age 78, found a phrase that works wonders. "I trust you'll work this out." Simple, neutral, and loving. She says, "It shows I care without taking sides." Most times, they do work it out, just in their own way. There's profound wisdom in knowing when our involvement helps and when it hinders. As the years pass, we learn that not every battle needs our commentary, and not every conflict requires our solution. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can give our family is the space to navigate their own relationships, while we focus on maintaining the peaceful, loving connections that matter most.
4. Regrets about the past. Life is a tapestry of choices. Some we're proud of, others we might wish we'd made differently. While reflecting on regrets can be valuable for personal growth, sharing them with family often leads to unintended consequences. Take the case of Arthur, a retired businessman who often told his children, "I wish I hadn't worked so much when you were young." He meant it as an expression of love, but what his daughter heard was, "Our childhood wasn't good enough." The guilt she felt wasn't Arthur's intention, yet it became a barrier in their relationship. This phenomenon is well documented in family therapy. When parents express life regrets, adult children often internalize them as criticism of the life they've created together. What's meant as personal reflection can feel like familial rejection. Common regrets that often backfire when shared are career paths not taken, relationships that ended, dreams left behind for family responsibilities, financial decisions with long-term consequences. Instead of verbalizing regrets to family, consider these alternatives. Try journaling. Writing privately can provide the same catharsis without risking misunderstandings. Talking with peers. Friends your age are more likely to understand without taking it personally. Reframing. Instead of, "I regret not traveling," try, "I'm so glad we're taking that cruise next month." There's also the matter of how regrets affect how others see us. Constantly talking about past mistakes can inadvertently paint us as discontented or stuck, when in reality, we may be quite at peace overall. Eleanor, a 68-year-old grandmother, found a beautiful way to transform regrets. Now, when I think, "I wish I had," I add, "so now I will." That wish to have traveled more became planning regular trips with my grandchildren. The regret became something positive we share. Remember, your life's journey, with all its twists and turns, has brought you to where you are today. Every choice contributed to the person you've become and the family you've built. While introspection is valuable, some reflections are best shared carefully, if at all. As you consider your own past, ask yourself, will sharing this regret help my relationships, or might it create unnecessary hurt? Often, the wisest choice is to take the lesson forward while leaving the pain of the regret behind. Personal beliefs and opinions. After 6 or more decades of life experience, we've earned our opinions, but we've also learned that not every belief needs voicing. This delicate balance becomes increasingly important as families span multiple generations with different worldviews. Consider the Johnson family's weekly dinners. Grandfather Henry, a Vietnam veteran, held strong political views. What began as passionate discussions gradually became heated arguments with his millennial grandchildren. The turning point came when his granddaughter stopped bringing her fiancé to family gatherings. "He feels uncomfortable," she admitted. Henry realized his right to opinion came with a cost, the alienation of loved ones.
This tension between authenticity and harmony is common in multi-generational families. Research from the University of California found that 73% of seniors report withholding opinions to maintain family peace. And interestingly, 68% say doing so actually improved their relationships. Here are 3 areas where discretion often serves best. Political views, these rarely change through family debate. Religious beliefs, deeply personal and often tied to identity. Lifestyle choices, what worked in your youth may not apply today. This doesn't mean being inauthentic. It's about choosing when and how to share. Think of it like spices in cooking. The right amount enhances the meal, but too much overwhelms the palate. Marjorie, an 81-year-old great-grandmother, found a wonderful approach. I ask more questions than I give opinions. When my great-grandchildren talk about their lives, I say, "Tell me more about that," instead of, "Here's what I think." We both learn something and nobody feels judged. There's also the matter of influence. As elders, our words carry extra weight, whether we intend them to or not. An offhand comment about someone's career choice or relationship can linger for years in ways we never anticipated. The poet Maya Angelou once said, "People will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." In our later years, this wisdom becomes especially poignant. By being selective with our opinions, we create space for connection that transcends differences, the kind of connection that becomes our true legacy.
6. Marriage and relationships. After decades of marriage or partnership, we've learned countless lessons about love, but some of these lessons are better shown than spoken. This is especially true when it comes to discussing our relationships with others. Take the case of Rose and Frank, married 53 years. When Rose complained to her daughter about Frank's forgetfulness, she expected sympathy. Instead, her daughter began viewing her father differently, becoming impatient with him, treating him like he was declining mentally. A normal marital frustration had unintentionally altered their father-daughter relationship. This illustrates an important truth. What we share about our partners becomes part of how others see them. Once spoken, those words can't be unspoken. The occasional complaint we might forget by breakfast could linger in a child's memory for years. Common relationship topics that often backfire when shared are intimate details better kept private, financial disagreements, frustrations about aging changes, and comparisons to other couples. Instead, consider these alternatives for maintaining both your privacy and your peace. Talk with your partner directly, the person who can actually address the issue. Confide in a neutral third party, like a counselor or a longtime friend outside the family. Ask yourself, will sharing this help or potentially harm how others view my partner? There's also the matter of generational differences. Modern relationships often function differently than those of our youth. What might seem like not how we did things to us could be perfectly normal to others. In the end, every long relationship has its ups and downs. What makes the difference is recognizing that some challenges are meant to be navigated privately, not because we have something to hide, but because some things are simply too precious to expose to outside opinions. After all these years, isn't that intimacy and mutual protection part of what makes the journey so special?
As we come to the end of our discussion today, I want to leave you with this gentle reminder from poet Naomi Shihab Nye. Keep your life and your hands as clean as you can. You are still the custodian of your small universe. The choices we've talked about what to share and what to hold close, aren't about building walls. They're about tending the sacred gardens of our relationships with care and intention. Each small decision to protect a confidence or withhold an unnecessary opinion is an act of love for ourselves and for those we cherish. I'd love to hear which of these resonated most with you. Was it the financial privacy, the health boundaries, the relationship discretion? Share your thoughts below. Your wisdom matters here. And if you found this helpful, consider passing it along to a friend who might benefit. After all, we're all in this together, learning as we go. And don't forget to subscribe for more thoughtful insights. Until next time, remember this. Growing older isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing which questions matter most. Wishing you peace, privacy where you need it, and plenty of joyful sharing where it counts.